Hi, and welcome to the early years. I thought I'd start my newsletter item this week about talking to a little friend in Year 1 about the importance of the learning pit and how we use it in our classrooms. So please welcome Jackson here with me today. Jackson, what is the learning pit?
It's where you're. It's where
When you're learning.
when you're learning, and you're in the deep thing, and you have to try and think if there's a tricky thing.
Right, so if something might be a little bit tricky and you've got to get yourself out of the learning pit. Is that right?
Yep.
What do you do to help yourself get out of the learning pit when things are tricky?
I use my alphabet on my desk.
Great. Are there other things that we can use in our classroom, or are there different things that we can, or strategies that we can use?
The board,
Absolutely. And there's a few other things that we can use, isn't there? There's the board, our books.
books, library books,
Yeah, we could use library books. What else? What about our brain?
our brain.
Yep. And we can also check with our buddies too, can't we?
Yeah, and the sounds over up there.
Oh, sounds on the wall. Absolutely. So you can use things on your walls to help you. So sometimes does it happen straight away, jumping out of the learning pit, or does sometimes it take some time?
Sometime.
Yeah, it does take some time. How does it feel once you've worked really hard and jumped out of that pit?
Good.
Feels good. Thanks, Jackson. I now have Olivia with me who's going to share her understanding of the learning pit. Hi, Olivia. Would you be able to tell me, what do you think of the learning pit? What is it?
Well, I think of the learning pit that it is something you have to dive into and give it a try to be able to get out of it.
Absolutely. What sort of times have you or experience have you been through that where you've had to get into the learning pit?
Many of times, definitely during assessments.
Absolutely. And that leads me to my next topic. We do have lots of assessments and things at the moment, so it's really critical that your child is having a great rest at night time, bringing a really nutritious lunchbox to school, but also really embracing that learning pit. So we encourage you to engage in those conversations in the evening too about how we just have to give it a go. And sometimes we just takes a lot of practice and refinement to be able to gather those skills, to be able to show them in class too. But we really encourage jumping in the learning pit like Olivia here. Thanks, Olivia.
Thanks.
I also have Lily with me today telling me about the learning pit. Hi, Lily. Can you tell me, what is the learning pit?
It has lots of stuff like optimistic.
So being optimistic.
Yeah.
And how do we be optimistic? When do we need to be optimistic?
When you're doing a hard worksheet.
Okay, so if you're doing something hard, you need to be optimistic and look on the bright side.
Yeah.
Has there been a time where you've had to be in the learning pit?
Yeah.
When was that?
That was today.
Was it? How come it was today?
Because this morning we had to do a hard math sheet.
And you had to be really optimistic.
Yeah.
How did it feel when you dug yourself out of that learning pit today?
I had to be optimistic.
You had to be optimistic. Thanks, Lily. I have Peyton and Lucy with me today from Prep Blue, and they're going to tell us, what is the learning pit? Hi, girls. Tell me, what is the learning pit?
It's when it's hard to get out.
It's hard to get out. When do we get in the learning pit?
When it's really hard.
Now, if I'm in the learning pit because it's really hard, what have I got to do to get myself out of the learning pit?
Help others.
Help others, so be a buddy. What else?
Be persistent.
Oh, that's a good word. Be persistent. Absolutely.
Be responsible.
Definitely. What happens if it's still a bit hard and I've got to keep on trying and keep on trying?
Never give up.
Never give up. Oh, so we've got to keep on
And
trying.
jumping the learning pit.
Absolutely. I think that's a really great message. Oh, have you been in the learning pit before?
Yes.
When were you in the learning pit?
When it was really, really hard for us.
Let's get out.
Oh, and did you get out?
Yes.
How did it feel when you got out?
It feels a little bit better.
It feels a bit better. Takes a lot of hard work though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, girls. As you can see, the Learning Pit is really embedded in a lot of our classrooms throughout the college. Please be encouraging your children to be telling you about their learning journeys in the classroom. We talk a lot about learning being really hard work because it takes a lot of time and process and a lot of consolidation to actually refine the skills in our classroom. So I really appreciate the children's input into their understanding of what the Learning Pit is, and as you can see, they've all been deep down inside the Learning Pit. I think some of our great examples of that at the moment are that we're doing lots of assessments. It's that time of term. We're collating all our information. The students are consolidating some of their learning from over the last term or perhaps the semester. And teachers are making those judgments against the achievement standard to see how they're travelling this year. Soon you'll be issued a report card that will have some of those informations and those judgments on the achievement standard. And we really encourage students' attendance to be really high at the moment. We understand there is some sickness going around. However, every day counts at the moment. Teachers are taking every opportunity to collate evidence and build that portfolio of evidence to be able to come up with that judgment against the achievement standard for each subject in their classes. So we really appreciate attendance at the moment and avoiding those early finishes or long weekends. I also just want to reminder, as a general reminder, winter's getting cool too. It's very quickly approached us, and we've noticed lots of jumpers and things laying around and unnamed, unfortunately. Could you please just take the time over the weekend, if you could, to make sure that your belongings are all named for your child? The other thing I really want to flag is a few upcoming events. So over the next few weeks, we had our Stedford, which we'll be hosting here in the MPC. Miss Sophie Twidale sent an email out about that this week with all the different arrangements and the little costume items. These aren't arduous costumes, and please just feel free to keep that simple. If you need any support or any help with some of those costume requirements, please feel free to touch base and let us know as soon as possible. We also have at the end of the term our Junior Athletics Carnival. Next Monday is our Pyjama Day, so students are welcome to come in their pyjamas and bring a gold coin donation. And our Year 12 students have put on an initiative in a few weeks' time to host a movie night for our early years as well, so stay tuned for that. Otherwise, we look forward to catching up with you in the next few weeks. See you then.